Back continuing the conversation on shoulder stability, we hit some of the bottom up press and getting that overhead motion to start to cue in. But now what we want to do is we want to add a little bit more intensity onto that task, right? Our body is always trying to do things, whether that's mental things, physical things, emotional things. We want to be doing things or a number of different tasks and activities all at once. Because if we're not able to dual task and get a bunch of tasks done and stay stable and safe through those, the likelihood of us hurting ourselves in real life scenarios where there are multiple variables coming at us at once builds up a little bit. So what we're going to do today is we're going to be doing something called a kettlebell windmill. This is going to require some of that overhead motion that we've been working on, as well as thoracic rotation and hip mobility. So, of course, it's a little bit of an advanced exercise. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over the pieces today. And if you don't have those pieces, of course, you need to work on them. But looking into the future to the point where you can get all these activated and incorporated. I got my kettlebell, hence the kettlebell windmill. And what I'm going to be doing the entire time while I'm doing this is going to be I'm going to be in that all the way overhead position as if we were doing that bottom up press. Now, pretend that my arm is up there. What I want to be doing with my feet, I want them to be shoulder width apart, and I want a slight angulation of them. I don't want them dead straight ahead, something around 5 degrees. This is one variation. We'll talk about another variation where we're pointing our feet in either direction, but at this point, I just want my feet relatively straightforward, call it that 5 degrees, toes turned out. I'm up in the overhead position. What I'm going to be doing from here is I'm going to be looking up at my kettlebell the entire time. I don't want this unstable, heavy object up over my head to eventually come down and hit me in the head, right? Keep eyes on it. That way, if it is starting to come down, I can bail out and get away from the weight. But what I'm going to be doing from here, hand is going to stay on my thigh, nice and close. I'm going to get a slight bend in the knee and a slight hinge in my hips. I'm staying nice and tight through my core. What I don't want to do is I don't want to let everything fall out and me dump into my low back. So I'm nice and tight through my core, slight bend in the knees, looking up at my kettlebell. Hand is going to stay close to my thigh. I'm going to slide to keep myself open. I have to rotate. Slight hinge and come up. Right? So multiple movements. I'm keeping my hand on my thigh the entire time. If I roll to the inside of my thigh, that's going to help me with my rotation in my spine. I'm also going to get a hip hinge. Right? So I'm rotating and hinging, getting a good stretch on the glutes. I'm going to use those glutes to activate and push myself up. I'm not using my low back to pull myself up. So again, if we start to put all that together, bottom up press goes overhead, I'm watching it. Bend in the knees, hinge at the hips, tighten the core, keep those ribs down. Hand is on the inside of the thighs. I'm going to turn, drop, hips, up. Relatively simplistic in that manner, but there are a lot of pieces, so if we don't have those pieces, this isn't really going to come together. Now, we talked about how there is a slight variation where we can change our feet, so what I'm going to do, now have the kettlebell in my left hand, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to angle my feet 45 degrees off the direction of this kettlebell. So since it's in my left hand, my feet are going to be 45 degrees to the right. If I had it in my right hand, they'd be 45 degrees to the left. Easy peasy, right? So I'm here, same idea, bottom up press. I'm watching it the entire time with my feet now angulated 45 degrees off to this side. Still slight bend. I'm still hinging. This requires a little bit of less tightness in my core, which can be okay, right? Not every exercise has to be a core exercise, but if I'm unable to keep everything tight with my feet straight forward, this is a little bit easier way to go about that exercise, is to bring the feet out to the side at an angle a little bit. Same mechanisms apply though. I'm getting rotation through my spine as I come down, and hip stretch and activation as I'm going down and coming up. Of course, as you can tell, that this is a somewhat advanced exercise, so what we want to be doing with this is again another barometer style exercise. Just like how the bottom up press is a barometer exercise, the ability for us to rotate and hinge at the hips while keeping shoulder stability is a big flag of, hey, are you going to be able to catch that weight over your head, whether we're doing clean and jerk or snatch? Hey, am I gonna be able to fully rotate as I was, maybe doing a bent over row or something like that? It's a good exercise to start to see where is the system weak. Of course, always test, retest. If I test shit, if I don't do well, maybe I go do some mobility, maybe I go do some stability work, come back, do it again. Am I cleaned up? Yes, no, maybe so, right? Playing around with this as a tool and an exercise to build up your stability and strength is gonna be amazing. I give this to my patients, all my overhead patients, as a part of their warm-up. 2 sets, anywhere from 5 to 8 reps in total. We'll do that side to side to just kind of see, hey, how's one shoulder kind of mechanic working versus the other? What are things that we can kind of work on? Again, use this as a good barometer drill. Let us know in the comments what's working, what's not working. The more information that we get from you, the more that we can give back. Of course, like, subscribe, all that stuff. That way this information can get out to more people and help them out. Have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one.